What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Next Gen Podcast, the podcast where you figure out what you want to do. I'm your host, Rohan. I'm here with my co-host,
Christian Chavira.
and we're going to get right into it. We have a very special guest with us today, guys. One of my best friends, super musically talented, Dave Stillwell.
How's it going?
What's up, man? So, before we get into what you want to do with your life and how you found that passion, why don't you give me a little background, tell me a little bit about where you started and how you got into that.
Alright. Well, to start off with, I don't think I ever really considered myself like an artistic type of person ever growing up. Over these past couple of years, I started out by joining theater. That was a good outlet for me for a little while, and then in the middle of that period of time, I was getting really enticed by the whole musical aspect of it. I like musicals more than straight plays whenever I was doing it, so I got together with some people in our theater group, and we created a band together for a little while. We wrote a couple songs, and then ever since then I've been.
How did you get into theater, or how did you just realize that's what you wanted to do? Did you just see a flyer on the wall, or how did?
Alright.
What did you do before that?
So one of my friends, I believe has been on your podcast, Xavier.
Okay.
He told me to come into the theater room during one of our free periods, and I didn't really want to at first. I just decided, I don't know any of these people, so it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, I finally decided to go, and everybody was really nice, super nice. I don't know, it just felt like a really cool group. And so I decided just to quit what I was doing. I was wrestling at the time, and it was weird because nothing really would have made me quit. I never even thought I was going to quit, and then about a week later, I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to do this now because I don't know, I felt really drawn to it, and that's pretty much how I got into theater.
Performing for the first few times on stage, what emotions did you get out of it that made you want to crave to do it more?
I like a lot of the family aspect of working with people for such a long amount of time, and working so hard with people that you guys become kind of like family after a while. I enjoyed that the most. I enjoyed getting the applause. The applause is nice. So there's actually a really cool saying that was an actor's greatest gift is applause. That's what they enjoy the most, and it's kind of true. But on top of that, I was nervous. It was my first time being on stage in front of people. It just felt so much better than the nervousness.
Right. And so you said you got into theater and then you transitioned into music, basically?
Pretty much, yeah.
So before theater, did you do anything in high school? What did you do?
Wrestling.
Wrestling.
I was on the wrestling team for my first 2.5 years of high school, and I was really committed to it as well. I wanted to be good at that, and that was my thing. That was my niche. And like I said, I never thought I was gonna quit. But if you had told me a week before I joined theater that I was going to quit that, I would have been like, what are you talking about? Wrestling to theater? Why?
So how did your family and friends around you take this transition? Because from wrestling to theater is such a giant change.
Yeah, okay, that's a really good question. So my dad has always been really passionate about wrestling. He used to do it when he was a kid, so when I started doing it, he'd been convincing me to do it all this time. Before high school, he had wanted me to do it. I was like, I'll do it later. I'll do it, whenever. He didn't take it very well at all. And for the most part, it was just because he had seen how hard I worked at that. After doing that for 2.5 years, he was like, you're going to throw all that away. You haven't made it to the state tournament yet. You haven't done any of that. That's the big goal. It's the end goal for high school wrestling, at least, is to make it to the state tournament or win ultimately. But I had gotten injured previously, like the year before, and I couldn't do anything. So this was the beginning of the next year, and he was like, "Well, the season hasn't even started yet. Like, what are you doing?" Both my parents, they both thought I was kind of like throwing away all I'd worked for, and I kind of looked at it as more like
And this
I
was
learned a lot of
what
things
year of
from-
your high school career?
junior year.
Oh, so you started like theater kind of late.
Yeah, it was kind of late.
And I kind of actually remember, I was a freshman and I did theater in middle school. I loved it and I thought that's what I was going to do with my life. And I remember seeing this kid like first in theater, and it was you. And I remember I was like, this kid is so stupid because he comes up to me and the first thing you ever said to me, and now you're one of my best friends. The first thing you ever said to me was, "Aren't Wendy's chicken nuggets just the best chicken nuggets you've ever had?" And I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like,
That's a good opening line.
Great way to meet someone, huh?
Right? Yeah. I eventually got over that whole. My family got over it. You know, ended up letting me do theater, and now they're happy they did it. They're happy they. You know.
So, like, being in the music, I mean, I guess you're not in the industry yet, but, like, knowing that you're going to want to go into the music industry, what are, like, some of the things that you think about? Because nowadays, I feel like anybody could just make music and post it online, right?
Yeah.
And you see all those little Pumps, little Yachty, you know, all those
SoundCloud
little,
rappers?
all those
Yeah.
SoundCloud rappers, those underground rappers, and like, what's your opinion on that type of music? Do you like it? Do you meme it? Like, what kind of how do you feel about that, as from a music perspective?
I mean, it can be difficult. It's well known. I mean, it's difficult to get into the music industry. So all those people, they are following their dream. They're doing what they like. Some of them aren't doing it for the purpose of getting into the music industry. Some of them, I guess, like to do it. I think whatever makes them happy, it's fine.
But like, how do you feel about that music? Like, do you mess with it, or like, are you like
About rap?
about that type of rap, like as they call mumble rap?
Oh, I mean, there are a few songs that I like. I mean, I don't listen to just that. I like to listen to. I like so many different types of music, so I listen to, that a little bit.
So getting onto the aspect of your music, what made you like really want to hone in onto your music? Like, what aspects of like theater and the performance that really encouraged this new set of career goals?
We did a bunch of different plays in high school. Some of them were musicals, some of them were straight plays, and I just found myself really enjoying the musicals a lot. I started learning how to sing around that time, and that was really therapeutic. I ended up just really loving to sing, and then as soon as I started picking up the guitar or the bass was the first thing I started doing. As soon as I learned like my first song on there, it was, I don't know, it was like addicting.
It spoke to you.
Yeah, it definitely did. Playing the first song was, I just wanted to learn another one, and then another one, and another one, and start playing for people. My parents, they were excited about it, so I would sing for like the family whenever they came over, or just for family friends and stuff. And then not too long ago, I ended up singing at a wedding for my cousin. My cousin ended up getting married.
So, like, speaking on that, is your family supportive?
They are, yeah. Yeah, actually, you know what was funny?
Yeah.
So my dad was apparently talking to some of my friends when I first started like learning how to sing.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, so has Dave gotten any better, or is he still like?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, he's good."
Yeah. Because you wanted to see if you're successful at it.
Oh yeah. And now they're.
Because I remember when I wanted to do theater as a career, which it's not the case anymore. I remember my mom telling me, you go into high school, you go all into theater, but ask your teacher at like sophomore year, do you think that I could like do this as a career? Because so many people want to be things, and only the best people can be that. And that's especially with acting and music, because
it's difficult. It's difficult to get in
It's
there.
difficult. I mean, there's so many better people than you.
Yeah, there's always gonna be
Someone better. Yeah, that's the thing.
Does it ever scare you to think that like this is a risky career? I'll be if we're all being honest here, but
oh yeah.
what's keeping you determined, like knowing that like there's still risk coming with it?
Okay.
And also adding to that, how do you know that you're successful in your music? Like, what does success mean to you?
One of the things that I was taught was of the different things you can do in the music industry. So you don't necessarily have to be a star. You don't necessarily
Right, there's
have
business, there's music business, there's managing, there's so much.
Yeah, exactly. So you could always teach someone, or you could always
Produce
manage
tracks.
someone, produce tracks, producing other people's tracks for them on the side while I'm working on my own thing. Because yes, it's really hard to get in there. That just sounded but yeah, I'm gonna be doing that on the side, maybe teaching people. So I know that I'll be, even though it is very scary, definitely. I know that I'll be, okay financially, at least for myself for a little while.
So you're saying you're gonna wanna like start off in a part of the industry, so where you can build yourself up. So you're gonna start off creating beats and stuff, and then eventually you start putting out your own singles.
I'll do that. I'll put out the singles like while I'm doing I'll do them both at the same time, so I have some sort of stability, something to fall back on, and the plan B is pretty much part of the plan A.
So speaking of producing music, we have one song, Mr. Perfect, that you have already written. Was that all original?
Yeah.
And we're gonna put that link in the description.
One last question, just that anyone that hears it, what did the song mean to you? Like, what was your purpose behind writing Mr. Perfect?
It was a story that I wanted to put together into a song. I was just thinking of, a guy and a girl having problems. The girl basically is looking for the perfect guy, and so she ends up dating
Which doesn't
this person.
exist.
Yeah,
Which doesn't
she ends up dating this person, and he doesn't feel all that great at the fact that she is, wanting that perfect person. Not that it's wrong to want a perfect person, but he feels like it's something against him. Like, I'm not perfect. Like, that's fine.
Alright. Alright, one last question for you, Dave, right before we go. I promise this is the last one. So what would you say to all those people that want to do what you do, but feel like, oh, I can't do it, or just give up? What would you say to them?
I would say, don't give up before you start. If you're doing what you love, then the money will come with it.
Alright, thank you, Dave, for having us on.
Thank you, man.
Alright, thank you
This
for
has
having
been
me.
the Next Gen Podcast. I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.
Alright, see you later.